The following program contains shocking challenges to Republicans. If you suffer from blind party loyalty, this show might not be right for you. Check with a Tea Party leader.
Speaking the truth when others hold their tongues. Wrestling for justice with left-wingers and crocodiles. Resisting the temptation to keep the peace at any price. The only talk show host who writes his own theme music, Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another special edition of Randall Terry, the voice of resistance. I've asked President Obama if I could move into the White House, so I'm here to just check it out. They haven't cleared me yet with the Secret Service to go in and actually check out the facilities, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, but we expect to be in shortly. We'll have the camera rolling when I get in, I promise. Yesterday, I interviewed former FBI Director Louis Freeh. We will have that for you in today's broadcast. We're talking about this president again, the state of affairs here in America, and the danger that we are all in because of the current occupant of the White House. A quick word from my good friend, the dude with the weird lip, Rusty Cowpoke.
Hi, welcome back to the ranch, folks. I gotta tell you, I am so stinking proud of them GOP candidates, because you know the Republican Party is the pro-life party. I mean, I want you to take a close look at the last dozen or so GOP nationally televised debates. Now, if you look really closely, you're gonna hear that they're up there defending them babies, always talking about the unborn. Oh, no, wait. No, that was a dream, wasn't it? That's right, I think I only heard them talk about the unborn like twice in the last 2 months. Hey, GOP, you're gonna be fighting against the Democrats. I think them schoolgirls gonna whoop your butt.
Welcome back to the program, friend. Our exclusive interview with former FBI Director Louis Freeh will be in just a moment. He knew who I was. They've got a file on me there at the FBI, I promise you. I want to talk for a minute about the danger that we are all in as American citizens because of the occupant of the White House. Now, when I say that we're in danger, what I mean is this. If you read the book of Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah, in the scriptures, you will see a man who could see the future and could see the judgment of God coming before it came. He said, "Why is my wound incurable? Why is my pain unending? Oh, that my eyes were a fountain of tears, so that I could weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people." When he uttered those words, no one had been slain yet. Jerusalem was still a magnificent city. But because of the shedding of innocent blood in Jerusalem, because of the homosexual prostitution booths, I'll say it again, the homosexual prostitution booths that were inside Solomon's temple, okay? Because of these horrifying sins that were being committed by the people of Israel, Jeremiah knew, because God was telling him, the end is coming. Judgment is coming. Over 50 million children have been slain by abortion. Their blood is crying out in a haunting chorus to God. And because God is merciful and because he's slow to anger, he doesn't just obliterate us in one fell swoop any more than he just obliterated Israel in one fell swoop. He keeps warning us. He keeps calling us to repentance. He keeps saying to us, wake up, wake up, strengthen the things that remain and are about to die. And unfortunately, as with ancient Israel, most of God's people just keep asleep at the switch. We're watching football. We're watching our favorite weekly show. We're watching game shows. We're addicted to the computer. We have bread and circuses that numb us to the horrifying reality of what is going on and the danger that that puts us all in. I submit to you that the scriptures teach us clearly, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, people mourn. And it puts people in danger. Obama's not content to kill for people to be able to kill babies in America. He wants the rest of us to pay for it. He's not content for babies to be slain in America. He wants to fund child killing around the world. It puts us all in danger. Because when God does turn off the rain in the skies, all of us are going to have to deal with the drought. If God does just keep pushing our economy over a cliff, all of us are going to be scrambling to buy our daily bread. If nuclear weapons are smuggled in from Pakistan or from Iran in the not too distant future and detonated off of our coasts, all of us will deal with the fallout of that. As far as our infrastructure, as far as our economy, as far as the loss of life of friends and loved ones in any place in which a weapon of mass destruction was detonated against us. Obama's policies are an affront to heaven when it comes to human rights, the rights of the unborn, the sacrament of marriage, forcing us to be the slave labor force on the socialist plantation. And the resistance that should be forthcoming from the Catholic world and the evangelical world is like a muted puppy. The giants of our past, and I'm talking about Cardinal O'Connor, Jerry Falwell, D. James Kennedy, they're dead. The stalwart defenders of life and liberty that were in the U.S. Senate 20, 30 years ago, they're dead. And they've been replaced by people who want to go along and get along. They've been replaced by people who don't want to spend their political capital on issues and policies that are unpopular. And so, rather than making course corrections, we're speeding up as we plunge into the abyss. And if some future historian finds this tape, I confess to you and to those of you who look at the wreckage that this nation will become if we don't repent and turn, I submit to you that we brought this on ourselves. We brought it on ourselves because we would not stand and fight in the political arena. We would not herald the truth in the public square. We chose our comfort over justice. We chose bread and circuses over the lives of the innocent. We chose candidates that could win rather than candidates who would fight for justice and truth as they originate from our Maker. We brought this on ourselves. And it is we and our children and our grandchildren who will pay the price for our apathy and our silence and our treachery. I'm going to take a break. On yesterday's show, you will remember that we spoke with people who are crying out to the administration to protect the people in the refugee camp called Ashraf in Iraq. One of those that I interviewed was former FBI Director Louis Freeh. It was an honor to talk with him. I promise you he knows who I am. The FBI has a very long file on me because I stand up in the public square against the villains and the tyrants that are destroying this country in our nation's capital. It was a good interview. I was delighted to have the chance to speak to him. That coming up and more on what you can do to bring this country back to sanity before we die. I'll be right back.
There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. That explains a lot about why they'll be white.
Hi, Joe Costello here, founder of Kylea Health and Energy. I've been making superb nutritional supplements for over 15 years, and from day one, I've partnered with Randall Terry, helping to fund his invaluable work in reclaiming our country's biblical and godly roots. I want to share with you a product that has changed hundreds of thousands of lives since its inception.
Introducing the Total Living Drinks, Greens and Berry, the ultimate superfood formulas that provide you the 9 essential areas of nutrition your body needs on a daily basis. Each serving of the Total Living Drink provides the life-giving phytonutrients that come from the equivalent of 5 servings of organic vegetables and berries, enzymes for better digestion and nutrient absorption, protein for building lean muscle mass so you can burn more fat for fuel, probiotics for better intestinal function, herbs for building energy and stamina, antioxidants for maximum immune function and disease prevention, and all the vitamins and minerals you need for slowing down aging and maximum health. You would have to take 30 to 40 capsules each day and spend almost $10 a day to match the over 30,000 milligrams of total nutrition in each scoop of the Total Living Drink. Order right now and get started on the amazing Total Living Drink. They come in 2 delicious flavors, Total Living Drink Greens and Total Living Drink Berry. And every single dollar we receive, we give a generous amount to Randall Terry's organization to help further his work and further the kingdom. Visit us online at the address on your screen and receive an online discount or call the toll-free number. Call today, and for the daily price of a latte, you can get back on the road to better health and energy with Kylea's Total Living Drink.
Moments with Moses. The Lord will send upon you curses, confusion, and frustration in all that you undertake to do, until you are destroyed and perish quickly.
Welcome back to the program, friend. Louis Freeh was an agitation to President Clinton. He served both Republicans and Democrats, and I believe truly that he served in the fear of God. He was at today's event. I had the opportunity to speak with him. Here's that exclusive interview. I'm with former director of the FBI, Freeh. God bless you, sir, for your service to our country.
Thank you,
You were a
Randall.
hero of mine back when you served through many administrations. What is your read on what's going on here?
Well, what's going on here is this is the end game now with Iran. And what's at issue and what's on the table are the lives of 3,400 innocent people. I mean, there are a lot of other issues related directly to the withdrawal of U.S. forces, at least the military forces, by the end of this month. One of the critical issues, as far as we're concerned, is the promise by the United States of America in writing to the 3,400 residents in Camp Ashraf that they would be protected.
Once they disarm themselves.
Once they disarm themselves, the FBI went through and interviewed them all. As you just heard from General Phillips, the United States Army looked high and low in that camp for any evidence of terrorism or anti-Americanism, found none. So, what's at stake here is not only the promise of the United States to protect these people. We know that the al-Maliki government, as late as April of this year, went in there with guns, tanks, armored
Killed
vehicles.
dozens of people.
Killed over 30 people. They did the same thing in July of 2009. And this deadline, which the Iraqis are adamant about, has to be met by the end of this month, in 19 days, is not al-Maliki's deadline, it's the Iranian deadline.
Why is Maliki playing to the Iranians?
Well, how did he take his election? Okay, al-Sadr, who's his key coalition partner, spends most of his time in Tehran, taking directions from the mullahs. The Al-Mahdi army, by the way, which he runs, has never been put on the foreign terrorist organization list, even though it was only about 4 weeks ago that al-Sadr said he will consider stopping to kill American soldiers. So, this is a regime that is constituted by Iran, supported and directed by Iran. And on this key issue, Randall, the mullahs are terrified of this organization because
of what they represent.
Exactly. It represents freedom. It represents the only organized resistance to the Holocaust that they've been inflicting on their own people, mostly young people, for years. And for the U.S. to bend on this and leave the field with its promise of protection unenforced is a humiliation for the United States.
Well, we did it with the Kurds. I mean, we walked out on the Kurds, 100,000 of them killed by Saddam Hussein, so our track record there isn't very good, protecting civilians.
We don't have a good track record, but you know what? We have a great opportunity here. We have a president who has showed his will against the terrorists, and we have now the Prime Minister of Iraq basically bringing the brief of the Iranian terrorists to the White House of the United States, and it's up to our president, I believe, to say, no, those people will be protected. We promise that, and I'll hold you personally responsible for their safety.
Do you think that the president would commit U.S. troops to the protection of these refugees?
I would hope he would do that, but, one squad of Army soldiers in that camp will protect those people. The Iraqis will not dare to trespass and do that. But if we leave the field, as we have, the blue helmets are not going to do it. The UN, God bless them, don't have the will or the wherewithal to do it. The only person in the world who can do it is about 100 yards to my left here.
God have mercy on us. Any words to our viewers about what they might be able to do to influence the president?
Well, there's been a huge swell of bipartisan support on the Hill. We've got, 66 senators and congressmen. You just heard one of them. She's a Democrat. We've got Republicans. We've got every credible counterterrorism expert in the United States have spoken on this issue. We just can't get any traction. The Secretary of State has been hiding for 18 months from the Court of Appeals, refuses to do what the court directed her to do. And the reality is there's no facts and there's no legal basis anymore to keep this organization on the list. Keeping it on the list, Randall, is extremely dangerous because al-Maliki and the mullahs use that as their excuse for killing these people. So we're not just doing nothing, we're actually facilitating, this terrible situation.
Director Free, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service to the
My
country.
pleasure. Good luck.
Thank you. Former Director of the FBI, Louis Free, I thank him again for the opportunity to interview him. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to challenge you in the presence of God who made you, to learn to play to an audience of one. Don't go away.
It's just not art, it's a philosophical statement that the Ten Commandments are the foundation of justice and law. Now I know that there's probably some older, lecherous men here.
Hi, Joe Costello here, founder of Kailea Health and Energy. I want to share with you a product that has changed hundreds of thousands of lives.
Introducing the Total Living Drinks, Greens and Berry, the ultimate superfood formulas that provide you the 9 daily essential areas of nutrition your body needs. Each scoop provides the life-giving phytonutrients that come from the equivalent of 5 servings of organic vegetables and berries, probiotics for better intestinal function, antioxidants for disease prevention, and vitamins and minerals for establishing maximum health. Order now and get started on the Total Living Drink. When you do, a generous gift will go to Randall Terry's organization to help further his work and further the kingdom. Order online and receive an online discount or call the toll-free number. Call today and enjoy maximum health and energy.
If we are together, nothing is impossible. If we are divided, all will fail. Sir Winston Churchill. Welcome back to the program, friend. We're standing at the White House while the march is finishing up on behalf of the refugees that are in Camp Ashraf, whose lives are probably in grave danger because Maliki is playing to the Ayatollahs in Iran. These are Iranian dissidents, political dissidents, who the U.S. pledged to protect, as Louis Free and I spoke of. Playing to an audience of one. I admire these people. They're out here because they're standing up for the human rights of other people. When you stand in a group, you have to at least get off your hind end and get out in the street, get cold, get dirty, spend your time, spend your money to stand for something. And I admire that. But I want to go a step further and talk about you playing to an audience of one. When the prophet Elijah was here, he said to King Ahab and to others, he said, "As the Lord God of Israel lives, before whom I stand." And that passage in Hebrew is very interesting. It speaks of two people looking at each other and their eyes are locked on each other. So they never left that symbiotic relationship. Elijah was playing to an audience of one. He said, "As the Lord God of Israel lives, before whom I stand, it will not rain in Israel except at my word." When the prophets of Baal danced around their asinine altar, cutting themselves, crying out to Baal to send fire, Elijah mocked them. He said, well, maybe Baal's asleep and has to be awakened. Maybe he's on a trip and you can't find him. Maybe he's going to the bathroom and he can't be disturbed. He mocked them. He wasn't afraid to have the controversy of saying incendiary words. He wasn't afraid of hurting the feelings of people that were open enemies of God, open traitors against God's law. He stood because he feared God. He learned to play to an audience of one. Now, what I mean by that is that each of us are going to give an account one day at the judgment seat for what we've done and what we've failed to do. We'll give an account for the words that we've spoken, but we'll also give an account for the things that we did not say, for the times that we held our tongue when we should have spoken. I was in a church recently talking to a pro-life woman who was an attorney, and she said, oh, these people here are pro-life. They really want to see abortion ended. I said, no, they don't. She startled. I said to her, if there was a trial held today and every single person in this room were put on trial for trying to make it a crime for a woman to have an abortion, if they were put on trial for trying to take away a woman's constitutional right to abort her unwanted fetus, most of the people in this room would be found not guilty because no evidence could be brought against them. You wouldn't be able to pull evidence together that showed them fighting, literature in their possession, time spent on the front lines, time sacrificing, time endangering themselves. There would be no evidence, and the judge would say, not guilty. Why? Because those people are not playing to an audience of one. They're not thinking about giving an account on the day of judgment for what they've done and what they failed to do, what they have said and what they have failed to say. I believe it was Edmund Burke who said, all that is necessary for evil to triumph is that good men do nothing. All that is necessary for evil to triumph is that good men do nothing. And so if you were put on trial today for trying to take away a woman's constitutional right to kill her baby, or if you were put on trial today for trying to end the socialist plantation, if you were put on trial for any number of things in the battles for life, liberty, and justice, would you be found guilty or not guilty? And more importantly, when each of us, and I have to speak directly to you, when you stand before your Maker, what will he see? What will the record show? Are you playing to an audience of one, or are you playing to your fears? Are you living in the fear of God, or are you living in the fear of your relatives, your spouse, your in-laws? Are you living with an eye on eternity, or are you living wrapped up in what's going on right now? I'll be right back with a word from one of our founders. Don't go away. The Lord is at your right hand. He will shatter kings on the day of his wrath.
Hi, Joe Costello here, founder of Kailea Health and Energy. I want to share with you a product that has changed hundreds of thousands of lives.
Introducing the Total Living Drinks, Greens and Berry, the ultimate superfood formulas that provide you the 9 daily essential areas of nutrition your body needs. Each scoop provides the life-giving phytonutrients that come from the equivalent of 5 servings of organic vegetables and berries, probiotics for better intestinal function, antioxidants for disease prevention, and vitamins and minerals for establishing maximum health. Order now and get started on the Total Living Drink. When you do, a generous gift will go to Randall Terry's organization to help further his work and further the kingdom. Order online and receive an online discount, or call the toll-free number. Call today and enjoy maximum health and energy.
Samuel Adams said, "Shame on the man who can court exemption from present trouble and expense at the price of their own posterity's liberty." Friend, There is a way for you to exempt yourself from the present trouble, from the present battles, but somebody's going to pay the price. If we don't pay the price now, on our own terms, to turn this country around, to get good men and women in office, to bring us back from the abyss, if we don't fight for the innocent now, while we still can, somebody is going to pay the price for our exempting ourselves from the culture wars. And I'm telling you right now, hear me, this is going to offend some of you. Prayer is not enough. Okay? Prayer is not enough. In Matthew chapter 25, when Jesus delineates the judgment that's coming with the sheep and the goats, he never once mentions prayer. Believe me, our team prays together every day. We beg God for mercy, for strength, for courage. But then when we get up from our prayer meeting, we go and fight. And in Matthew chapter 25, Jesus says, I was naked, you didn't clothe me. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was in prison, you didn't visit me. These are all actions. He never says, I was in trouble and you didn't pray for me. In fact, John, the evangelist, said, if you see somebody who needs food and clothing and you say, go, be warmed and be filled. He was part of the faith movement. Be warmed, be filled. If you say be warmed and be filled, but you don't provide him with the things that he needs, how does the love of God dwell in you? Friend, if the love of God dwells in us for our neighbor and for him, then we have got to stand for the truth in the public square, even when it costs us. Because if we don't, it's going to cost our kids.